Now, a showdown looms as police insist they will not allow any protest to the headquarters of the Independent Elections and Boundaries Commission's headquarters in Nairobi. Police are trying to stop any large crowds from accessing the city center. Security has been beefed up, especially on Ngong Road, to stop potential protesters from Kibera. Let us now join our reporter, Chris Thairu, who has been following this. And Thairu, if you can hear me, please bring us to speed with the latest from where you are.
Well, Sharon, I'm just in the middle of Kibera slums, and I can tell you the tension remains high here in Kibera. As you can see, the demonstrators who are trying to regroup and access city center, when they saw that police are not allowing anyone to access city center, what they did is that they barricaded the main road that accesses Kibera slums, and also on the other side, as you can see, there are still some youths who are still trying to regroup and ensure that they access the city center. Well, police right now are currently trying to put off these the bonfires that had already been lit by members of the public who are trying to access the city center and demonstrate. And on the other side, as you can see, business has come to a standstill. Businesses have been closed, and there's a group of people here. They're just trying to witness what's going on, and the fear is that they might be planning to regroup and access the city center. And they're still the problem here is that also the demonstrators are still pelting stones. The police officers, they are throwing stones, and so it is also a risky business here, if I can tell you. But so far, police have managed to disperse a group that had already planned to enter the CBD, and the only people who have been allowed is the women and maybe a few youths who have been allowed maybe to access Kibera slums. But what I can confirm is that most of the businesses have been closed, and people have already retreated back to their homes. If you can see, there are some demonstrators who are being repulsed there using tear gas canisters just to ensure that they don't regroup, or in case they are planning on something maybe of regrouping and maybe joining or attacking police officers. And so tension here in Kibera still remains high, and we'll be expecting that maybe in the few hours maybe police will have managed to calm down the situation. But for now, I can confirm that the group that was planning to enter or to access the CBD has already been repulsed, and what's happening is that a few of them are still, a few of the Kenyans who live here have been allowed as long as they are peaceful. Nothing much is they are planning. They've been allowed actually to access their homes without any provocation from the police officers. But the biggest group that had already managed to regroup has already been dispersed. I can still hear some tear gas canisters still being thrown to some of the groupings that had already gathered and trying to access the city center. Most of the business here in Kibera have been closed down just to ensure that maybe businessmen are taking precaution that maybe their property will not be destroyed, or maybe their property will not be stolen from maybe some of the demonstrators who might have maybe a negative agenda or maybe a bad agenda to destroy the whole thing. But police this time round have managed to ensure that the groups that come from Kibera area and head to the city center has been repulsed even before they accessed Ngong Road. And one of the strategies that they've used is to ensure that they barricade Ngong Road. They also barricade the roundabout, the city mortuary roundabout, and also make sure that all the exit or the entrance points of Kibera, that is high-rise area, and also on the other side of Ngong Road, that's the Kenya Teachers Service, Kenya Teachers College along Ngong Road. That is where we have another group of police officers just ensuring that the group that maybe was a fear that might be regrouping and access the city center has been repulsed. But police here trying to do good and maybe put off the bonfires that had already been lit by the demonstrators. Sharon.
It appears that the action has moved to Kibera. Do we know why the police, have cordoned off the town? Because this was supposed to be the fourth demonstration held by court. Why has this been outlawed?
You see, Sharon, police officers, since morning, the Nairobi County Commander Japheth Koome made it clear that today's demonstrations are illegal because they had not notified the police that they have an intention to hold demonstrations. And so the strategy, they've deployed a new strategy this time round, this being the fourth time that they were planning to stage demonstrations in town. What they've ensured is that they barricade those roads where most of the youths come from. Remember that Kibera remains one of the perceived strongholds of the Coalition for Reforms and Democracy Code, and so they have a good group or a good number of supporters here. And so what they've ensured is that they'll first ensure that they do not access Ngong Road or maybe regroup and head to the city center. And police have been a bit, although the constitution clearly gives them, the demonstrators, the right to picket and demonstrate, and they were also Justice Isaac Lenaola had already given them the green light as long as the demonstrations are held in a peaceful manner. But what we've witnessed for the last three times that they've staged demonstrations is that they've culminated into chaotic scenes. And so maybe this time round, police, according to them, is that they were not notified, and that's why they decided that they will not allow any group or any members of the public to regroup and cause maybe mayhem. Sharon?
Right, and before I let you go, Chris, there's a group of businessmen who had, threatened to, stage a counter demonstration. Do we know whether they got to do this or they didn't have a chance at all?
Actually, that was a planned demonstrations by members who are affiliated to the ruling Jubilee coalition. And what they had already decided is that they will also counter the demonstrations by maybe staging the demonstrators who are perceived to be supporting the Jubilee government. But so far, what we've seen is that no group has been allowed to regroup, or no group has been allowed to hold demonstrations. If the scenes that you're seeing right now, it's just there are several groups of youths who are trying to provoke the police officers. They are distance away, but the problem is that they are throwing stones at the police officers and also are trying to provoke them. And a good number of them have already been repulsed actually to their homes. And so far it's calm, as you can see, but tension still remains high because we don't know what will be transpiring in the next few minutes. But what we know is that police have managed at least to disperse some, or the biggest group that was here. You hear? They're still, as you can see, yeah. There you go. There you go. So the problem is that they're still throwing stones, but police will still manage. We are following them. Let's see whether we'll manage to see. Yeah, it's a group that had already decided that indeed they will make sure they access the city center and hold these demonstrations. There you go. There are several who are still being chased. Well, they had already planned to set another bonlight there. There's a number of tires that already been set there. They were trying to lit them, but police managed to get them even before they had already made that threat. And so what I can say is that it's a running battle here, even as we still try to follow police officers. Our security still remains questionable because they are throwing stones, and we can't tell which side of the stones that will come. But so far, police have managed to disperse them, although there are several others who are still hid inside the buildings, and the police are still trying to pursue them because these are believed to be the guys who are throwing stones at police officers.
Right, Chris. Maybe we'll let you catch a breath.
Yeah,
right,
so
maybe
far,
let you...
they have managed to... So far, they've managed to disperse them, but bonfire has been lit all over from my right side, from my left side. But police are still trying to ensure that they contain them. Tear gas canisters have been hurled right, left, and center, just to ensure that those who had already tried to regroup, they can be repulsed, and maybe peace and tranquility maybe returns to the troubled Kibera slums.
Right, thank you, Chris. Maybe we'll let you catch a breath now, and hopefully you also stay safe yourself. Thank you so much for bringing us those latest updates from Kibera. Of course, please do keep safe. We can see there that police are engaged in running battles with demonstrators. What we know now is that the city center has been cordoned off. The police saying they did not receive any notification from court, so they could not allow the demonstrations to take place today in the city center. And now what they're doing is in Kibera, just trying to cordon off Ngong Road, and most of them expected to come from Kibera, of course, and that's why the action is coming from that side. And we shall continue getting updates from our Chris Thairu there.